So how on earth have I ended up being a campsite warden here at a campsite, caravan site, motorhome site, holiday park called the Nurseries? So I know a few people have been interested in some of my vlogs about taking on a job as a warden. So I'm just going to have a bit of a waffle here, all being well, over several minutes, just to explain how I've got the job where I am, but also where I've been in the past and some of the experience that I've got. And all being well, it may help you if you're thinking about going for a role as a warden. So if you've been following my vlog since I've been here, and I am coming up to almost exactly 1 year since I came here to the Nurseries in Mumby in Lincolnshire. It was a bit of a checkered past how I got this job, and I know from the outside, from you looking in, it looks like the role of a campsite warden is very easy, very simple, and it's quite easy to do. No, that is not the case. There is a lot more to being a warden than perhaps you actually see here on camera. So let me just go back a few years on how I've ended up here. So to cut a long story short, without going into detail, I had a bit of a health scare several years ago. Everything's okay, everything's fine. And a few other things were going on in life and things. And I said to Sandra, my wife, that I'd always fancied being a campsite warden. Loved camping all my life, and been very blessed with a number of the places that we've gone. So Sandra said, yep, that's fine, go for it. Yeah, you know, we'll see how we get along, and let you do what you need to do, and obviously Sandra can do what she needs to do. So to cut a long story short, I took a first role up in Northumberland, a small family-owned site. Absolutely wonderful job, brilliant year there, absolutely fantastic time. I then ended up at the following year. I then ended up on another site down in West Wales, Southwest Wales, and again a family-owned site. It was it was a good year. Perhaps some of the jobs that I ended up doing wasn't for me. I ended up doing a lot of bar work in the evenings, which wasn't really on my radar. But it was okay, and a really nice family to work for, and you know, just a very small family site. So that went on okay. And I then ended up during that summer, I saw another job being advertised for the following year in Somerset, which I applied for and was given the job opportunity very early on the year, something like, it's about the August, something like that, to start the following March. And I ended up then trying to help this other campsite out in Somerset. I won't go into details, and I ended up going there in, I think it was November, to help them out over a winter period. We were still in lockdown periods, and one of their staff was going to be going to live in Australia, and they didn't know when they were going to be going. The family that I'd got the job for booked a holiday. And anyway, to cut a long story short, I went down, and I was only there a month. It didn't work out. But that was, again, that was a family site. So then I come back and I said to Sandra, you know, I've worked for these families. I wouldn't mind now going to work for a big company, a corporate company, maybe one of the club sites. So caravan club, caravan and motorhome club, camping in the forest, or perhaps somebody else like Haven Holidays. So I ended up applying for a job. This was, I'm just trying to remember now, this was over the Christmassy period, and I got then offered an interview with Haven Holidays in the January, just trying to recollect years now, was this 2022, last year. I went down, had an interview, I think literally the first week in January, and was offered the job there and then. And I was promised all sorts. It was a big site to get onto 250 pitches. The site needed marking out, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I accepted the job under the promises that got made at interview. So I ended up at Haven in the January, towards the end of the January, and spent 4-ish weeks remarking out their site. So technically speaking, the whole touring site was actually illegal with the pitch numbering, the way the pitches were done. There wasn't the 6-meter gaps between units, so you didn't have fire breaks and whatever. It was a massive job, but really enjoyable, working outside and doing quite literally 9 to 5, clocking in with a fingerprint, started at 9, finished at 5. Then the season was going to start getting underway. I can't remember whether we opened up in the February. I can't remember. It was the first time. I can't remember now. And I'd been promised. So I'm on my own on this role on a very low wage. But I've been promised, you know, there'll be a pension scheme, there'll be these regular hours, and there'll be cleaning people to help me, and I've been promised all this support. To cut long story short, it didn't happen. The whole job was a flaming nightmare. Great staff. The staff were absolutely fantastic staff. My manager was amazing. Everybody I worked with were amazing. But the stress and things that I was expected to do were stupid. I could do a 9 to 9, a 12-hour shift, and be expected not to have any break, not even a 1-minute break, nothing to eat in 12 hours, not even time to go for a pee or to go to the toilet. And it was relentless, absolutely relentless. 60 check-ins, 90 check-ins, 120 check-ins every single day. I don't mind work. You see me, I don't mind hard work, but this was relentless. And the toilets couldn't be kept clean. They were in a right mess and they weren't fit for purpose. Some of the pitches that I was being asked to put people on were not fit for purpose. It was horrible. And then they were sometimes overselling pitches. So I knew the following day going into work, somebody could arrive and we didn't have space for them. I had never suffered from anxiety or stress before in my life. Maybe stress, but never anxiety. Didn't even know what it was. And then to cut a long story short, I had to get out of there. My whole mental health was being wrecked by working for this company. So Sandra said, well, don't just leave, find another job. Hey ho. So off I went. And at this stage, I was on a Facebook group meant to be for campsite wardens, helping each other and giving each other support. And it was run by, I was going to use the word obnoxious, but I won't use that word because I'll get done for that. But by people who have got no idea how to run Facebook groups. But you know they've got a couple of thousand members and everything. So I was on there, and out of the blue, an advert comes up. They're looking for a solo warden to look after a campsite up to the 1st of November, blah, 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 blah. All the boxes were going tick, 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 tick. And I managed to get the details of who it was via Facebook Messenger. Within 10 minutes of this advert going up, because they hadn't worded it word perfect and they hadn't put this down, the admin from this horrible Facebook group that I've now been banned from, by the way, links in the description for my Facebook groups if you want to go and find a real friendly place. They basically removed the job advert, and subsequently, because the wording wasn't right, they banned my boss from this group. This is what you're dealing with. These people who administer this other Facebook group, they are just like, boom, they are bonkers. And then the advert sort of reappeared. So one of the other members of staff in our Birmingham office re-put the advert back on, and blow me down, they got banned and the advert got removed. But fortunately, I'd seen this advert. So I touched down on Facebook Messenger, I spoke to somebody in the office who then put me onto, in inverted commas, my boss, John. Hello, John. We had a conversation, and it appeared that I ticked all the boxes for what web holiday parks were looking for here at the nurseries. And so I took the job on. I didn't know anything about the area where I am working now. Mumby, I've never even heard of. Mablethorpe, yeah, Skegness, yeah, but no, nothing about the area. Went back to Haven. I gave in 2 weeks' notice, which was a huge relief. Absolutely, a massive relief to be getting out of that absolute mad place. So my journey then started here at the nurseries, and when I came, there was another more mature warden here. I think that's what I'll describe the situation. The campsite where I'm on had, as I say, had just gone over a transition period with new owners, and they'd done some changes, and some people didn't like the changes that were underway, and it was a baptism of fire. So the other warden that was here had a medical episode within, I think, the first 5 days of me being here, and had to leave. So all of a sudden, I ended up completely on my own on this campsite, and had to learn as I went along. But obviously, I'd got the experience of these other campsite warden roles from the past. And sorry for my sins. I used to have you call it a small business. I used to employ 15 staff. I've had a couple of retail outlets and a couple of quite nice businesses. So I've got business knowledge and business sense, and I'd like to think sort of HR skills and things like that. So yeah, it was an absolute baptism of fire. And we were migrating a booking system from an old paper diary into, we're using something here called Gemma Parks, basically onto an online system. I didn't know the pitches. I didn't know how this was. I didn't know where fuse boxes were. I didn't know how the electrics worked, and septic tanks and all sorts of things. But picked up as I went along, and again, those that have been following my vlogs since I got here a year ago, as I say, I am virtually on my first anniversary. Absolutely had an amazing year last year. I got here and we went into the heat wave, and the sun shone, and the whole season went on forever and ever and ever. It was a magnificent time. I was then asked if I'd like to come back. So historically, I mentioned that I'd worked on other sites each year. I've gone to a different site each year, and I enjoyed myself that much here, and it's a fantastic company to work for. So I said to John, my boss, yeah, I'll come back. You know, it'd be great, because obviously I now know the site, I've got the experience, and I was aware of some of the developments that they've got planned for here. So to say, you're aware that they've got some lodges coming on. And basically ended up back here for the second season. So working here is quite it's a decent season. It's an 8-month season. We're open March until the end of October, and obviously I come a couple of weeks early, and we'll go into the first week November before I go home. So basically I've got the best part of a 9-month job, which is really good. So some campsite warden roles are only literally 6 months roles, not 12 months roles. So in short, that's how I ended up actually getting here. And obviously the YouTube channel that I started a couple of years back has had steady growth, which you're watching this now. So if you are watching this, thank you. So that's been good. And then I've been trying to put out some daily content every single day about the role of being a campsite warden. So there are some other warden channels. There is a couple of new ones that have come on. But trying to do a vlog every day is quite hard, because it's not a mundane job, because every day is different. But some other channels don't really put on what they're doing. All they do is they put their winter exploits, because they squirrel the money away that they earn during the summer and spend it all in winter. That's not, I work completely different to that. And so, yeah, so the whole role here started by accident, and the place that I saw it being advertised banned my boss, banned the secretary for the company I work for. They've banned me for trying to help somebody. So yeah, screw you. And I know you're members of this this Facebook group. So the weirdest thing, this is how weird this thing. These people that banned me were amongst the very first people to rejoin this Facebook group and stuff that I've got. That's what we're dealing with. So to say, there is a link in the description if you are thinking about becoming a warden. If you are a warden, there's not a great deal on there. I just post up my daily vlogs, and there is some other banter. But if you want to ask any questions about being a warden and things like that, and you're on Facebook, down there below you'll find that's where the links are. So in short, that's where my journey to the nurseries has come along, and it's been an absolute joy to work for. There's some ups and downs here. There's some days where, you know, it's the sort of bad days which you don't really see on camera, and sometimes some decisions I have to make that, again, you don't see on camera. I will try and do another vlog to explain that it's not all glamorous. You can watch me here, and I am on an exceptionally good site to work for. I would call the job that I do, I am a campsite warden. So I do everything, a whole mismatch of things. Some other sites are going to expect you to be a cleaner, and all you'll be doing is doing cleans 3, 4, 5 times a day. I've told you in the past on other vlogs, that is not a warden role. I don't want to get involved in doing loads of pod turnovers or static caravan turnovers. That is a housekeeping role. So we do have a cottage here that I contribute to, and I've got a pod here. Those two, that's manageable. I'm okay with that. But you could end up going on a site that's got, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 pods, 2 static caravans, blah, and you're expected, as well as your warden role, to do those turnovers, and that can be incredibly hard. I mean, incredibly hard. The cottage we've got here is bad enough, and that's just one property. But as I say, I will possibly try and do another vlog to explain to you it's not all glamour and things to look out for in jobs. I have got a playlist on this channel about being a campsite warden. Please go and explore that playlist. I know some of the videos are very, very boring. It's just me talking, but some of them are about looking for a job and tips on getting a job. And there are, I think I've got 2 vlogs on there, 10 reasons to be a campsite warden and 10 reasons why you shouldn't be a campsite warden. But most of all, if you are looking to become a warden of some form, whether it be here in the UK or abroad or wherever, do comment below. I will try and always answer things the best that I can. But your best place to really go would be over to the Facebook group that I've set up, Campsite Warden UK, or is it UK Campsite Warden, whatever. It's the link's down there. If you go and become a member on there, you can ask any questions, and I'll always try to answer. So I'm a big believer in fate, a huge believer in fate. If the job in Somerset, if I'd stayed on that, I wouldn't be here. So because that failed, I ended up back at home. I then got the job at Haven. And if Haven wasn't so crap to work for, I wouldn't have been here. And as I say, I'm a massive believer in fate. And this one particular morning, it was a day off. I can't remember. I think I used to have a Tuesday and a Wednesday as my days off. Was it Wednesday? I can't remember now. But this one morning, this advert came up. I clicked it, and I would describe it as being probably the best campsite warden job anybody could ever have. It's also an adult only site, which is a big difference. And the stupid blighters on this other Facebook group that went and banned my boss, our secretary, and banned me. Oh dear, what fools you are, because you have got no idea. Right, that's just a very waffle job vlog, and I don't know whether you found that of any use or not. If you have done, give it a thumbs up. If you're not interested, you wouldn't have reached here to the end. Hopefully that's been interesting. Keep firing any questions to me. I'll always try to answer the best that I can. Take care. See you soon.